Hello, hello. I'm trying a little experiment today. I'm putting this landscape and just going to see how this works. Except what I've forgotten to do is sort my lighting out. But hopefully it's not too bad today. So what I'm going to be talking about today is ditching the self-doubt. So fantastic. Hello. I'm talking about ditching the self-doubt, and as I say, I'm trying a little experiment with putting my my little iPhone on landscape instead of portrait and seeing how that works. Although I'm just conscious that I'm probably looking at the screen rather than the camera. But anyway, let's see how it goes, and welcome, Sharon. So I'm talking today about ditching the self-doubt. Actually, when you do join, would you mind sharing so we can get some other people on board? Because I'm sure this is going to be useful for quite a lot of people. So that's swiping right. Hi, lovely to see you again. Swiping right if you've got an iPhone to share, and swiping up if it's an Android. I think that's correct, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so before I kind of get into the topic, which has actually come from another question, I don't know whether it's because the issues I've been talking about are around mindset, and people don't necessarily want to kind of share their fears and doubts with the public, and that's perfectly fine. But if you do want to engage and sort of type things up, that's fab too. And just give me some hearts there, Sharon. That would be fab. So, my name is Julie Johnson. This is now my 5th Periscope. I can't quite believe it. It's gone so quickly. I've been doing them all of this week, and I'm really starting to enjoy them. Fabulous, thank you. And I work predominantly with service providers and people kind of selling their expertise, and I help them understand themselves fully, not funny, or maybe that as well. Understand themselves fully, who they are, what they want, and how they may have been stopping themselves. So I kind of look at mindset stuff in order that they can step into a more successful life or business. Because when you have more clarity, when you have the focus, and you combine that with the external strategies and tactics, and you also know how to get out of your own way, which can be the biggest block for a lot of us, then there's no stopping you. So today I want to be talking about, as I say, ditching the self-doubt, and that's come from a question that was around, how do I stop doubting myself all of the time? Now, I'm sure that's come from one person. It's well, I know because I've been working with people on this. It's not something that, you know, is just unique to that person. It happens to us all some of the time, and it happens to a lot of us most of the time. So what comes up for me when I'm thinking about ditching the self-doubt is kind of two things. So what I want to do is just kind of explore these two areas and give you some ideas about what you can do. So the two things that are likely to be happening when you are going round in circles, kind of doubting yourself constantly, are that you don't really know yourself fully. So you're not clear, you haven't got clarity, you don't really own the truth about yourself, which is that you are a fabulous individual. Yes, everyone is. And the second thing that comes to mind is, or the second thing that's going on, is that you have habitual thought patterns. Now, we touched a little bit on this on some of the other periscopes, but I just want to explore those two. So if I start with the first one, you're not really clear about who you are at your best. It's really interesting that for most people, we don't like to shout about ourselves. We don't like to kind of say, look what I'm doing, look what I've done. And yet we're very encouraging for other people. We're very encouraging, and it's very easy to see the best in other people, but it's not always easy to see the best in ourselves. So that's what I'm talking about here, is you realising, hi Dave, nice to see you, is you realising that actually you are a powerful, creative individual. We all are. We all have this light within us. We're kind of inner diamonds. I mean, there's a quote by Marianne Williamson about, you know, who am I to shine my light? Who am I not to? I mean, I can't, you know, it's a long quote, and I can maybe look at that some other time. But basically what she's saying is, We are all unique and we're all here for a purpose, and we're all here to be our best selves, to be our highest and best selves. So I want you to just think about, because this is more, I'm talking about more than just knowledge, skills and expertise, the types of things that you might put on your, needing self-confidence. Okay, Sharon. So the types of things that you might put on an about page or a resume. If you need self-confidence, this will be a good start, because I'm talking about more than that. It's about who we are as individuals. So it's about our talents, our strengths, our gifts, what we're proud of, what we've achieved, the qualities that we have that other people see in us that we don't necessarily see in ourselves. And it's important to kind of reconnect with that. So what I want you to do is to start to get clear, is to ask yourself, who am I at my best? So think about Sharon, think about when you have been confident, when you've achieved something and you've been that super confident person that you know you can be for certain things, when you've been that person. So what kind of qualities, what kind of traits? Happy for you to stick some messages on there if you want to share what they are for you. But if not, then I want you to think about the times, as I say, when you've been like that, the times when you have been assertive, powerful, creative, the times when you've stood up for yourself. That's when you've been your best self, your highest self. So think about, what are your talents, your gifts, your strengths? Think about what other people say about you. As I say, we're very happy to give compliments to other people, not always very happy to give them to ourselves. So think about that. What do other people say? Yeah. That might help with the confidence, Sharon, is just thinking about how other people would describe you. Because when you're full of self-doubt, then you're describing yourself in a different way to other people would. So capture those things. Think about, if there's anything you want to share, as I say, that would be fab. But think about, what are those things for you when you're at your very best? How are you being, and who are you being? I've got a fab exercise in my brand new online course, and it's called The Best Me, and it gets you to really explore this, because what you need is to start to feel better about yourself, because if you're doubting yourself all the time, then you're not feeling great about yourself. And you also need to reconnect to the truth, because deep down we do know this about ourselves, but we don't allow it to come to the surface very often. And I tell you something I've got as well, which is, and this is somewhere where you can capture this, who am I in my best? I have my happy box. Don't know if you can see that, but basically it's a box that I keep under my desk, and I have cards in there, testimonials in there, emails from people that I've helped, words that people have used to describe me. So whenever I'm feeling doubtful about how I want to move forward, or just doubtful about whether things are going to work, then I go back to that happy box and I look at, who am I at my best? Because that is me, and that's how other people see me, and that's how other people see you. But you need to capture that, you need to claim it, and you need to own it. And as I say, using a happy box or a happy file, somewhere where you can capture all of these things, so that when you do doubt yourself, you kind of reconnect to that. So that's my first top tip there, is that who am I at my best with the happy box combined. That's a really good way to start to ditch the self-doubt. The second area that I said is around habitual thought patterns. Now, what you need to understand here is that this is kind of a negative cycle that we get ourselves in. So it starts very often with, well, it can start anyway, but very often it's the thoughts that we do recognise. So our thoughts affect how we feel. Our feelings and thoughts affect the kinds of things we say, whether that's to ourselves or to other people. And all of those things, our thoughts, our feelings and our words, affect the actions that we take or don't take. And of course, your actions or non-action then affects your results. So to kind of get rid of this self-doubt and to start to get out of this negative cycle, you need to get really clear about what the impact is. Yeah, I know it's true. I have to go through this cycle myself as well, and it works. And you can kind of make a cut in that at any point. So you can think about when you're doubting yourself or when you're lacking in confidence, Sharon, what is it that you're saying to yourself? So what are the thoughts that are going on? And then what does that mean is happening in your body? So as we talked about yesterday in the Feel the Fear, Then What? You have the negative emotions and feelings are actually trapped energy. And in order for you to be able to release that, because they just come up every time you think those same thoughts, in order for you to be able to release that, you've got to recognize it. You've got to recognize those thoughts in the first place and actually get out of your head and tap into what's going on in your body. So that's thoughts, feelings, words as well. What are the words that you say to yourself and to other people? Now, one of the other things, and again, I'm just thinking I have actually talked about this in one of the other Periscopes, which is around training your mind to think differently. Because once you recognise the impact of this stuff that's going on for you, and then you start to tap into those feelings, and you start to notice, then you can do something about it. And that thing that you can do something about is actually training your mind to think differently. So can you remember the flipping the question? I don't want to go into too much detail on that because I do have that, as I say, it's in a Periscope from a few days ago, which is training your mind to think differently. So if you're full of self-doubt and you're lacking in self-confidence, it's about two main things. You're not really clear on who you are at your best, and you're not tapping into that and kind of reconnecting to that. And it's all about feelings for me, because that's the missing bit for most people. You can think about the thoughts, you can think about the words, you can take actions, but if you're not connected to how you're feeling, then that's going to impact on your actions and your results. So that's the negative cycle. And then the oh, I've lost my train of thought. Sorry. So there's the two things: the not really knowing who you are and those habitual thought patterns. So does anyone have any questions? I'm just looking at this and the light's not great. I will have to address, I promise I'll address that next time. Anyone have any questions about what I've been talking about there? Just hearts. Hopefully that means that that's made some sense. I'd love you to give me a bit of feedback either on, so Sharon, for lacking in confidence, what are the types of things that you're saying and how do you feel about that, and what do you see that you can do about it based on what I've talked about? So I would suggest that get that best me exercise done. Maybe check out the decision making course, because the new course is called Decision Making: How to Make Up Your Mind When You're Stuck, and that's at successclubacademy.com. So if you want to have a look there, I've actually got a pre-enrollment offer on at the moment. But as I say, that best me exercise is actually in there in a lot more detail, as are some of these other areas that we've talked about in terms of habitual patterns and that kind of cycle that we get ourselves in. So I'm conscious that I'm kind of now starting to repeat myself. So that's me for today. I shall see you, Fab, Sharon. Feedback to me, get me on Twitter and just let me know how things are going. If you've got any other questions, please do share those as well, or ask me, and I'll make sure that next week I'm following up with some of these other questions. You never know, I might even get some questions on the live broadcast next time. So enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you next week. Oh, Anita, I'm just finishing. Catch the replay. See you soon. Bye bye.